Satoshi Nakamoto, and then after a few years, he wrote up his hat, so to speak, passed it to a friend, and he disappeared. And nobody knows who he was.
Is he even alive?
Nobody knows. I mean, somebody knows, I presume, but he just disappeared, and nobody knows where he went. If that was his real name, it could have been a group. I don't know. So he's not around anymore under that name, and how much he may be worth, George, it's got to be a staggering amount of money.
He's got to be rivaling Jeff Bezos if he kept a lot of Bitcoin.
Yeah, a lot, yes.
To the phones we go. Let's go to Robert in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hello, Robert. Welcome. Still with us? Nope. He's not there. Let's try Richard in Anchorage, Alaska. Hey, Rich, go ahead.
Good afternoon, or good evening.
Hey, Richard.
Commerce will never stop. So trading and bartering will always be kind of the backup of all of the population, in my opinion.
Are you saying cash stays?
No. I'm saying that if I make shoes and you grow potatoes, and you need shoes and I need potatoes, we're going to trade.
We're going to cut a deal. Absolutely.
And that's worldwide. It has been for centuries.
The problem with that, as I see it, and you back me up here, John, is not everybody makes shoes and makes potatoes. They just work for a living. So what do they do?
Yeah, well, I mean, what Richard commented, that's the basics of economics, what he just said. However, you know, if you've got a kid in Japan that's going to college, or you're a mother retired in Florida and you want to send them some money, or what have you, you can't send them shoes or eggs or whatever.
Or potatoes.
Or potatoes. So, I mean, you know, money is the currency in whatever form, whether it's Bitcoin or fiat U.S. dollars or whatever, is needed. It doesn't mean that commerce is going to go away, Richard, but we still do need currency.
Let's go to Michael in Denver. Hey, Michael, welcome to the program.
Hi. I've got 4 fast comments.
Sure.
Number 1, there's nothing that I know of that could stop these evil people at the top from just making every monetary system and monetary unit illegal except for what they want us to use.
Sure.
Comment 2, you brought up the mark of the beast. Well, I strongly believe we're in the last days. A lot of the signs in the Bible, Old and New Testament, are pointing to it. And when the mark of the beast comes out, there's going to have to be a religious connection to it, because the whole one world government is going to be religiously based on a false religion, an antichrist. So you're going to have to accept freely, not forced, you're going to have to accept freely whether to follow the false religious system or the true one. Comment 3, they could make all monetary systems illegal, and what they could do is they could, when a new person is born, and they could do this with people that are already alive, but with every person that's born, they could issue them a certain number of years to live, and when they work, they earn hours. Just like you would save up money from a job, you would save up hours to be able to live longer. And at some point, when you run out of years to live, and you can't make enough hours, and you might even take out a loan, but if you're unable to pay it back, they could just eliminate you, and they wouldn't even have to deal with money at all. Comment 4, this whole thing has been going on for years, but as we see, it's been coming out to a much greater degree in connection with the virus. And I believe the election was stolen as part of this whole agenda.
Well, you're not alone with that, but of course, a lot of people don't think so either. But when you look at the whole thing he was saying as a package, there's a lot of distrust out there, John.
Well, there's distrust, George, and there's reason for distrust. There is the election and what occurred there. There's a lot of evidence on the negative side of that. In terms of his comment about making cryptos illegal or all currency illegal, it could happen.
That could happen overnight.
It could happen overnight. Listen, we're headed into a very technologically based, materialistically based time on the planet, and there are things that you talk about, George, and that other people talk about, which is the basic goodness of man and there's the spiritual nature of man that are positive, that keep the show on the road. So there are a lot of negative forces, and there's a lot of concern. I think we're going to dig out of this in terms of the financial side of it. I think people should get themselves some precious metals and buy a little bit of Bitcoin, and it'll protect them somewhat from what's coming.
What happens if people simply say, as I've quoted, "Mad as hell, not going to take it anymore," and they just say, "We're fed up with all this"?
Well, I think there's a lot of people, or a growing number of people, that have that point of view. It's distressing to me. As I mentioned earlier in the show when you asked me, I'm a teacher of American history, and what is going on with the Constitution and what's going on with the government makes me weep, George. It's not the way the framers intended, and there are forces kind of captivating elements of the government and turning it on itself, and it's not cool. Meanwhile, I've kind of assigned myself a hat to educate people on what's going on financially, and then I write some, on the side, I write some fiction books. I've got a detective series that I write that's up there on Amazon. That's a lot of fun.
Get that turned into a TV show, John.
Well, I'm actually trying. The first book is about the out-of-body psychic spy program that the CIA ran out of Stanford in the 70s and 80s, which you're probably familiar with. So I wove a fiction story around those events, and I've got a TV script kind of done up, and talking to some friends of mine that are in the business, and we'll see.
Let's go to Bob in Indiana. Welcome to the program. Hey, Rob. Go ahead, Bob.
I appreciate it, guys.
Sure thing.
I want to know if you could verify something I heard. I don't know what I heard, but I heard in the late 50s, during the Eisenhower years, that the tax rate for corporations and wealthy people was up to 75%, and the economy was booming. It wasn't stagnating. And is that true? And also, real quick, there's a lot of corporations out there that pay zero in taxes, a.k.a. Amazon. Now, how the hell do they get by with that? Thank you.
Well, they have a lot of so-called legal deductions, but the tax rate was 50% back around the Eisenhower era, not 75 or 80%. It was 50%. John?
Yeah, it was high. I mean, it was higher than it is now. The country was doing well. Despite that, if the rates had been lower, the country would have done much better. In terms of how corporations wind up with zero taxes after generating billions in income, that's a tax code that is insane. The way to handle taxes in this country would be to convert to a national sales tax. Get rid of the IRS.
Well, we've been advocating a national sales tax for years now, but is it people just don't make any movement toward that?
No, there's the group that is sponsoring it, and they're back in Florida.
You know Bill Spillane?
The fair tax, Steve Hayes.
Yeah, Steve Hayes and Bill Spillane.
Yeah.
Good people.
That the country would thrive with a national sales tax.
Sure would. Let's go to Bob in St. Louis, Missouri. First-time caller. Hey, Robert, go ahead. We'll squeeze you in.
Yeah, listen, I know you were talking about weeping about this situation, but I think it's great. We've been under subjugation since 1913, the Federal Reserve, and that's when income tax, those were both coinciding with each other because the same people who produced that. There shouldn't be any tax. Tax was originally, that was your own compulsion if you want to give any tax. It was less than 1% to help pay for the Civil War. Those same banks are the same one that revolutionized all the world, financing one country against another. The Federal Reserve is a banking system. There's no justice when you have no one paying for what they've done. And that's the same group of people that make a difference what country you're in that rules Washington, D.C. It's more evident now than ever. And what we need is justice for the banking system. And I would like to know how much gold reserve is in that Fort Knox.
That's a good question. How much is in Fort Knox? John, what do you think?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's a good question, and the callers, the reform of banking, international banking, is so needed. I mean, they run Washington. We could do a show or two or three on that subject. It badly needs reform. In terms of the dollars in Fort Knox, they ought to do an audit and tell the American public how much is in there.
Absolutely. John, stay in touch with us, okay?
Thanks, George. I appreciate the show. Thanks so much. Good talking to you.
John Wolf and his website, strategicfinancialintelligence.com, is linked up for you at coasttocoastam.com. Up next, psychic healer Vincent Jenna joins us as we talk about the way things could be or should be. And then in our final hour of the program, he'll do some readings, too, about you.
Never miss a detail on a show or a guest. Sign up for the Coast Zone email newsletter, available for free at coasttocoastam.com.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-644-7855. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-644-7855. That's 800-644-7855. 800-644-7855. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
If you or your family have been financially impacted by COVID-19, this pandemic is not your fault. And new California laws have been passed to help.
That's right. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage or run up credit card or business debt, please listen carefully.
Our friends at Oak Tree Law know every letter of the new laws, and just listen to these real examples of how they've helped our listeners.
A nurse from Torrance had her hours cut due to COVID-19. She was hit with medical issues of her own, racked up $160,000 in debt, and fell behind on her mortgage. With this new law, she was able to get current on her mortgage and eliminate the bad debt.
Here's a story about a real estate agent and her husband in Pasadena. Their income stopped when the pandemic hit. Their second mortgage was threatening to foreclose, and they had $75,000 in credit card and business debt. This new law allowed them to protect their home and eliminate the debt.
This pandemic has affected us all, but there is life-changing help available with one absolutely free call to Oak Tree Law.
800-542-2949, 800-542-2949, or visit oaktreelaw.com.
We go through all the that's going on so that we can tell you just that you need to know. KFI, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
South LA explosion mistake. I'm Phil Hewlett from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LAPD Chief Michael Moore says it was a mistake.
I want to personally express my apologies to every resident, business operator, and customer that was traumatically impacted by this incident.
5 members of the bomb squad have been removed from duty after their errors caused the fireworks explosion that left 17 people injured and damaged more than 24 homes and businesses. Chief Moore said the bomb technicians thought they placed 16 pounds of illegal fireworks into the blast container, when in fact it was 42. Federal prosecutors in San Diego announced charges against 4 Chinese nationals accused of taking part in a campaign to hack into the computer systems of various entities here and around the globe.
The reach of this criminal enterprise was massive in terms of its duration, geography, and targeted industries.
Prosecutors accused the men of stealing information for the benefit of the Chinese government between 2011 and 2018. The debate over California's requirement for students and staff to mask up inside classrooms is not sitting well with some parents, even though the requirement has been endorsed by the American Academy of Pediatrics. But this 5th grader is on board.
You shouldn't have to wear it at all outside, but it makes sense inside because all the germs are trapped in there, especially with dirty, stinky kids.
Free meals are coming to public schools regardless of student income. It starts in the 2022-23 school year. That's when all public schools in California will be required to provide 2 free meals per day to any student requesting a meal. Southland weather from KFI. Sunny and hot today and for most of the week. Valleys in the Inland Empire will approach the 100-degree mark. LA and OC metros can expect mid to upper 80s. Beaches will be in the mid-70s, and the water temperature is about the same. Right now it is 69 in Fullerton, San Clemente 68, Culver City 67, and in Woodland Hills it is currently 70 degrees. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Phil Hewlett.
Atwater Village. This is on the 5 northbound from Los Feliz to Colorado Street. Emergency crews taking up the right lane there, fighting a brush fire. Watch for delays throughout that area. Riverside, there is a work zone. 60 eastbound from Market to the 215 carpool, and 2 left lanes are going to be shut down for road work. Watch for delays. In Costa Mesa, full freeway closure, 405 northbound from the 73 to Fairview. All lanes are going to be shut down for road work until 5. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Brian Vance.
We all have wished at one time or another if we could just do 2 things at the same time. Well, if you're about to refinance or purchase a new home, here are 2 things you should absolutely do at the same time. Apply with at least 2 lenders. Mark Tice here from HMS Capital. Having 2 loans processed at the same time accomplishes a couple of important things. First, it maintains continuing competition for you, the customer, right up to the finish line. This results in a lower interest rate that saves you money. Second, it improves your chances of a successful transaction by eliminating the dependence on a single lender. HMS Capital requires no advance fees to apply, there's no appraisal fee, and no credit fee. With our razor-sharp interest rates, we are completely confident that no matter how many lenders you apply with, we will win your business. So call HMS Capital today and let us show you how doing 2 things at once really can save you money. Call HMS Capital at 833-255-5698. 833-255-5698. That's 833-255-5698. Or go to hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA of Golden Empire Inc. NMLS ID number 2427. HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 4130360. Equal housing lender.
833-255-5698.
Find the employees you need to get your business moving. Sign up with iHeartAdBuilder.com and create a custom radio ad to reach job seekers listening to stations just like this one. Get started today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Shall I compare me to a summer's day? Well, I am hot. I've got a sunny disposition and this Speedo. Oh, shoot. Is this on? And now the top 5 reasons to visit Morongo. Number 5.
Meal deals at Moses. Get nasty firecracker chicken, lemongrass beef, or Taiwanese popcorn calamari, each for less than $20.
Number 4.
You can get a rolling duffel and cosmetic bag when you earn 500 points on your rewards card, the 26th or 27th.
3.
Mark, Donnie, and Paul are calling you. The coolest brothers bring you the best burgers and fries slathered in wall sauce. Wahlburgers opening this Friday.
Number 2.
You could win up to $100 in free slot play or cash when you earn 500 points on your rewards card. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays.
And the number 1 reason.
Play 7-card studs, Omaha, and Texas Hold'em in comfort and style in our poker room.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo. Good times.
Why won't a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Whoa, you've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the Smell Good plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unstop my drain?
$99.
But you haven't seen it.
Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stoppage. The Smell Good plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost?
Yeah, there are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you're like up front and everything. I just called a guy named Bubba who wouldn't tell me anything.
No Bubba's here, ma'am. Just professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99.
Call us. 1-800-446-MIKE. Contractor license number 399170.
KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. But you were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Maybe I didn't hold you all those lonely, lonely times. And I guess I never told you I am so happy that you're mine. If I made you feel second best, girl, I'm sorry I was blind. You're always on my mind.
You're listening to Coast AM with George Norrie.
It's a little bit of Michael Bublé for you. It's a great song. It does a great job. And that's dedicated to all of you, my friends, to be sure. Vince Jenna with us, a psychic healer, very respected spiritual teacher. We're going to be back with him in a moment, and we're going to talk about the psychic realm on Coast to Coast. In our last hour of the program, he will take your calls for readings. All he needs, doesn't need your birth date or anything like that, just a simple question. And he'll run with it to be sure. Did you know that the weight of the average adult American has increased by nearly 30 pounds since the government set their own dietary guidelines, and they did that back in 1977? It's true. You cannot lose weight on the government's diet. No way. A leading metabolic scientist, Dr. Ben Bickman, I talked to him a couple weeks ago, has studied this for years and decided he had to do something about it. And his research shows that you need to limit certain carbs, eat more types of protein, and eat specific healthy fats in specific quantities. But knowing what and how much to eat is confusing. That's why Dr. Bickman created Health Code. Health Code is an easy, delicious, nutritionally complete meal based on cutting-edge science to help you with metabolic health, gut health, and brain health, and it tastes great. It really is something. Go to gethealth.com now. I'm going to spell it because it's spelled differently from how it sounds. Get, H-L-T-H. There's no E, no A. It's pronounced Get Health, but it's GetHLTH.com to learn more. GetHealth.com. That's GetHLTH.com. GetHealth.com. And when you're there, use code COAST for exclusive savings. If you haven't tried Super Beets Heart Chews, you're missing out. Super Beets Heart Chews are a delicious snack that you can take on the go and support your heart health. Super Beets Chews combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets Chews has been clinically shown to be 2 times as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. And now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day, anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. Do what I did and support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Chews. Get your Super Beets Chews today at noribeets.com. And when you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in the 3rd for free. That's noribeets.com to get a free bag of Super Beets Heart Chews when you purchase 2. noribeets.com. That's noribeets.com. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Our friend Vince Jenna back with us. Vince is a world-renowned psychic healer, respected spiritual teacher, very dynamic speaker who receives and deciphers messages from the other side. And wait till you hear some of the things he has to say tonight. And as I mentioned, in our last hour, Vince will take some readings on you. Just ask him a specific question, and he'll run with it. Vince, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, George, it's always great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I miss these live events because of COVID, where we could all get together like we used to in the old days. I miss that.
I miss that, too, because there is nothing better than the power of a group of people together in an audience. It affects everyone in such a positive, strong way. Not to mention, you're such a great showman, George. It's like an event, a show unto itself, right?
As long as I don't come across as P.T. Barnum, that's all that matters, right?
Definitely not. Oh, no. Especially when you sing there. I mean, I love it. It brings back some old memories.
How did you get involved in this? I mean, we're all born with this ability, but you magnified yours.
I did. And I did because I had a friend whose life was just falling apart, and he wasn't the type to share it with anybody. And so I just knew it internally. Something was going on in his life, but I didn't know how to help him. At that time, I was a professional singer, actor, and dancer, and who knew how to do, support and therapy for your friend other than just being there and saying, oh, yeah, I know, man. So it was just one weekend after spending some time with him. My wife and I are driving home, and I'm in tears. I'm just crying because this guy I knew was hurting. And my wife didn't understand why I was feeling that. And I was like, no, man, my heart is breaking for this guy. I know he's in trouble, but I don't know how to help him. So I literally just cried out for help to God, which I normally didn't really do, in my life for someone like that. I said, but I didn't ask for help for him. I said, help me. God, you've got to give me a way to help this guy. You've got to give me some ability to help him and people like him that are hurting. I just don't know how to do that, but I want to. And it was within about a week's time that Cecil B. DeMille and Steven Spielberg would be proud of the epic movie that went on in my life. And oh my gosh, it was crazy, George.
I love it. Tom grabbed me earlier today and says, with Vince, you got to ask him about these ETs he's been dealing with. And I said, it's one of my questions. We're going to do that. Tell me about this. How long has this been happening?
Well, the EP communication started, I'd say, about 5 years ago. At this point, I was just sitting in my office, a psychic medium. We received messages from all different realms, right? But I was just working with the past, present, and the future, and also the spiritual realm as a medium, talking to deceased loved ones and died. And then one day in my office, I hear in my head this voice, like I normally do when I'm doing a reading, "We need to talk with you." And I'm like looking around and I'm going, like every good psychiatrist, he looks at his FICA plants in the room and going, "Are you talking to me or something? What is that? Where's this voice coming from?" And it wasn't that spirit is normal. And they said, "No, we're a council of extraterrestrials." And I'm like, "A council? Okay. What is this council made of?" And he said, "Well, we're beings from all different universes that are together to help guide the system." I felt like I was right in the middle of a Star Trek episode. You know what I mean, George? It's like the Galactic Council. Holy cow, what is that? Like, all these different aliens and stuff like that. Are they, at the bar or something? What's going on? And so they started to tell me that I needed in my work, since I'm out in the public and on shows like this, that I needed to get the truth out about who they are and why they've come to Earth, especially more at this time than ever before. And it was just the most amazing thing, because at the same time, I wound up being introduced to one of your dear friends, Christopher Bledsoe Sr., right?
That's right.
Right, exactly. I mean, he is documented as one of the most highly documented people for having contact with aliens, live contact. And so I meet him, this is happening to me, and we're talking about why these aliens are coming here. I'm like, at that point, I don't think I'm crazy anymore, because I'm also talking with animals. So just to bring on the ETs just didn't seem that abnormal anymore. But when I shared it with my family, my daughter was like, "Okay, Dad, I think now is the time we need to have an intervention." No.
We're taking you to a little farm.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought. And just as long as the farm is not in Roswell, this craziness that was going on over there. But they were giving me all this information. I wound up being invited to a conference, to speak at a conference over here in Durham, North Carolina, and there were a lot of people. Paul Davis was there, another ufologist. And I started to speak, and he was showing me all of this documented evidence already by all these other different people and experts in the UFO field, that the things that the ETs were telling me about their travel process, why they're here, stuff like that, they just kept validating it. It was the only way for me to get validation that I wasn't going crazy, George, is from these outside people and folks. And there's only so much that I knew beforehand. I read books like Communion and, stuff like that, but I never had my own encounter until that time. And so it's the timing that all of a sudden this happened because of what's going on in the world today. And so it was the most amazing experience because of the information that was coming to me, George. I just loved it.
Are you convinced that these ETs are benevolent, Vince, that there's some kind of agenda here?
No agenda. There are no malevolent ones at all, like some people are superstitious of. And Albert Einstein knew that, because in his work, there is some document somewhere where he wound up saying that in order to escape our universe, to travel to another universe, another dimension, you would have to have full knowledge of all the principles of spirituality. And I understood why, because in order for us to truly know who we are, we have to be on that spiritual path, that we are just more than mere physical beings, right? That we're these unlimited beings, but that we have a purpose, and there is this light within us and knowledge within us, and we would have to tap into that. So based on that information, he believed that if there were ETs, they would have to be benevolent, because they would have been spiritually evolved in order to get here. So I truly believe that, because there would be no other reason. Oh my God, George, could you imagine this is a vacation spot somewhere, and you've got some ETs around, and they're going, "Hey, honey, I'm going to go on vacation with the family. Where would you like to go? Do you want to go over to this universe over here? What about this universe called Earth? Oh, no. Look at what's going on down there. Oh, forget it. I'm not going down there. All they have is Disneyland. That's it. Forget it. We're out of here, buddy. We'll go someplace else.
But they do have that great radio show called Coast to Coast. We might want to listen.
Well, they've been tuning in, George. I hate to tell you, they've been tuning into your show forever now. You got to be kidding. That's how they get all the information down here.
I think a few of them have called into the program, Vince.
Well, let me tell you, there's been some kind of aliens calling in at times.
You have been doing some work with Edgar Casey. Tell me about this.
Well, that's what gave me my foundation. When this started happening to me at that point with my friend, I didn't know what was really going on, and I just started randomly meeting some people. I was told.
And by the way, let me mention this, that there are a few people out there who probably just said, Edgar who? Edgar Casey is the late American prophet who would do readings about earthly events and health readings in a trance-like state. Okay, go ahead, Vince.
Right. And matter of fact, he was before Abraham Hicks. So, everybody knows today like Abraham Hicks, and he's another trance spirit kind of entity coming through. And Edgar Casey was one of the first here for the United States, which is really interesting. And so when this was happening, when I was supposed to be helping my friend, I was told, don't worry about everything that's coming to you, all this information. You'll be guided to the right people to understand what's happening and what to do with it. And the craziest thing is one day my wife and I are in a doctor's office just for a regular routine visit with me, and then we were going to the stores afterwards, and we're just sitting there. And we're talking to ourselves about some of the things that were happening to me, out in the corner there. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I feel so crazy. I cannot believe that this information is coming in my head. And there's a woman sitting nearby. And she interjects and says, listen, I'm sorry to be overhearing your conversation, but I couldn't help but hear you were talking about some spiritual things that happened to you. And I said, well, yeah, it's like been crazy. And she says, is it things like this and that, and you feel all of a sudden very in tune, and you're getting it connected? Yes. How did you know that? She said, well, that had happened to me as well. And so we started. Here I am in a doctor's office, and this woman starts talking to me about this intuitive and psychic and paranormal stuff that was happening to me. And she said, the best thing you can do is you need to look up Edgar Casey material and start studying the Edgar Casey material. That is going to give you a great foundation and understanding as to what's going on.